Hi, Bashar.
And you, good day.
I have a question about the first wave of ascension.
The first wave of ascension.
Yes. I'm just curious.
What's that in your mind?
Well, from my understanding, that it's a collectiveness that's volunteered to come here to help ascend.
You mean all of you?
Right. So why? So that's not a true.
It's an interpretation of an idea. It's true in its own context, but the idea simply is that many of you have decided that this is the place to be. It's where it's all happening. Look at this transformation going on. Let's be a part of that ascension process. It's going to be so exciting. So, all right, first wave of ascension.
Okay, because I thought, because it's the first wave, so I was like, how many are there? That was my question.
As many as you want. How many would you like?
Just for my
One?
here, yeah.
Well then, I guess the first wave of ascension will also be the last wave of ascension.
Okay, that changes a lot of things for me.
Yes, it does.
Okay, and then my second question was earlier, you told the first lady that came up here about the 7 mirrors.
Yes.
Why 7?
It has to do with different levels of consciousness that work well for you in your physical reality, different vibratory states that are representative of a permission slip that allows you to connect to those higher levels of mass consensus reality, the soul level reality, oversoul level reality, higher mind, physical personality, and many other aspects that you use all the time. It's just the easiest vibrations for you to connect to for these kinds of transformational purposes.
Okay, that's it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
One moment. Look how many representations you have in your society of the number 7 that you consider to be, quote unquote, lucky. 7th heaven, lucky 7. Yes? Well, you're the ones that set that up, so we're happy to simply use the devices that you've established within your own collective consciousness that make it easier for you to utilize and access those particular permission slips. That's all.
It's also a number of his son's civilization, right? You're connected to 7.
We're connected in many ways, but wait your turn.
Hello, brother. How you doing?
Perfect, and you?
Phenomenal.
All right.
I almost knew I was going to come up tonight.
Almost knew?
No, I didn't know. I totally knew.
Thank you.
Okay. As soon as I wrote my name.
Extremely educational for you to explain to us the state of being described as almost new.
Yeah, it was pretty phenomenal. I feel really connected to tonight's topic.
All right.
And the origin of the name of as above, so below, and the being and the origin that comes from.
Yes.
And it's phenomenal. So I feel so connected to the triad mind, what's going to be spoke about tomorrow night.
Yes.
And with that said, I'd like to go into the origins of those beings.
What beings?
The Anunnaki.
All right.
And the bloodlines of the Anunnaki.
We will delve a tiny bit into that.
Can you tell me the origins of Hermes Trismegistus, or Thoth, is father and bloodline?
Well, Hermes Trismegistus is farther down the bloodline than Thoth is?
Same incarnation of the same soul?
Well, same oversoul. Remember that reincarnation is an illusion.
Yes.
Yes, everything exists at once.
Yes.
You can have the experience of reincarnation, but that's not mechanically what's happening. It's simply that as you perceive through linear time the connections that you make from the now, you perceive them as if they are memories.
Yes.
Therefore, you call them reincarnations instead of multiple simultaneous incarnations, coexistent with me now.
Yes.
Nevertheless, the idea in linear terminology of Hermes is a little bit farther down the line, and yes, is connected to the idea of a similar oversoul extension to Thoth. But in terms of the idea of the Anu origins, you're actually talking about something that comes from a different dimension.
So you couldn't say like Enki is the previous bloodline before Thoth?
You're talking about something that is actually a parallel bloodline, not necessarily a linear one.
Okay. So the different would you say the two warring factions of like what they talk about Enlil and Enki
Yes.
being two different distinct bloodlines that have been at
That's
conflict?
more precise.
Okay. And so the Brotherhood of the Snake and the origins of the Brotherhood of the Snake were from the Enki lineage of the incarnations of like Adam, Jesus, and some of those teachers.
The snake representing the concept of ancient wisdom, yes.
Okay, because Hermes appeared himself before me with a great serpent, a great cobra, totally under control and totally
All right.
utter poise.
Yes.
And so what is the meaning of that like great polarity to command
Well, as I
such
say,
darkness?
ancient wisdom.
Ancient.
The idea of tapping into the ancient wisdom that exists within all of you at your core and releasing it in that way. It's like a coiled serpent that then can spring forth and bring you the ancient wisdom into your conscious mind if you lock into those vibrations in the appropriate way.
Excellent. And I pondered on this vision so much that I'm finally going on a vision quest to
all
Sedona
right.
that I'm
How
really excited
exciting.
about. And do you have any places in mind that I should go to that are pretty powerful spots that you highly recommend?
I highly recommend.
That you highly recommend?
The one that I would highly recommend would be Bell Rock,
Bell Rock.
since it's directly under our ship.
Will do.
And it is actually the center of the vortex.
Excellent. We'll make connections.
All right.
Thank you so much. I have another question about cryptocurrency and how the evolution of cryptocurrency as you see that as a natural flow in our society as a replacement system.
Nope.
Okay, excellent. Thank
It
you.
is an experiment. It will have its benefits to inform what will eventually evolve, but as it exists in its present form, it will pass into history.
Excellent. And I have another question. I experienced a really intense experience, such as an exorcism I did on myself with many different permission slips that you actually gave me.
Why did you believe you needed to be exorcised?
Well, it just kind of happened that I had this
all right.
kind of deep tension hidden behind my heart my whole life, and
all
I happened
right.
to get to it to where no other body work or whatever go
All
that
right.
deep
so
on my
you
body.
released your own demons, so to speak?
I did.
All right.
And then I was taken before the scales above the gods, and I
Is
could
that
see
another snake reference?
the scale. No, it's not. No, it's
I
not.
know I'm joking with you.
And I had such profound experiences this
Yes.
past year of my acceleration happening so much and
Yes,
so much
yes, yes,
allowing
yes,
my
yes.
true self to come to
Yes,
so much
that's what it's
fruition
all
that you
about
helped
now.
me with, and not being in any shame or utterance of who I am.
Well, thank you.
It's been so nice. Thank you.
Congratulations.
And now with these things that I've done, I was just really curious because like I hit this because many times you've told me about other incarnations I've had that I
Not
never.
you have had, but that you're connected.
Yes, but
Remember, first of all, that changes dynamically as you change. It's not a
yes.
static thing.
Yes, I see.
No, the idea is that because reincarnation is an illusion, and you're really just connecting to multiple simultaneous incarnations as you need to for the person you are at any given moment, when you become a different person, you actually connect to other incarnations. The idea in your old-fashioned way of looking at reincarnation is saying, well, I was this life back then, and I will always have been that life back then. No, it's a dynamically changing thing. As you change, you don't connect to the same lives.
Yes, this was a refinement of the oversoul right now.
Yes.
So that's what I was experiencing in myself in that exorcism, because I could touch this tension so deep in me that it gave me vivid hallucinations of a parallel life getting stabbed in the heart by my brother
Oh,
behind
how
my back.
exciting.
And me and my brother have been at war my whole life, and we're both intense, lifelong martial artists, and we've always feuded our whole life.
All right. Well, thank you for having your heart-to-heart.
And it was great because at the same time we were going through like tons of business feuds and everything that he went behind my back and it brought up all these things. And
Oh, all right.
it was so great to be that, and that was such an amazing release in my oversoul
All right.
that's allowed me to be more of myself and release that tension. And ever since that
Yes.
time, I've been able to do greater work with my
Yes.
students
Yes, yes,
and go
yes.
deeper within the soul of people and not to be shied away of the darkness and speak the light when
All right.
darkness is present.
Yes.
And that's kind of what it's all about.
Yes.
Is this accelerating positive energy that's not taking more bullshit and seeing things for what it is.
Bring it down to the most succinct form.
Okay,
Know thyself, be thyself.
that's it.
Period.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Shivai Bashar.
Shivai.
I'm me from Sweden, as it is now.
Speak up
Yes,
so that all may hear what you have to share.
thank you. So, I have these conversations many times
Speak
before.
up.
I have been having this conversation many times before,
Yes.
and now again.
And so,
I don't know what to say.
you just said a bunch.
Yes, but that's what I was thinking before. So now,
You don't have to say anything. You can say hello.
yes, I would love that.
All right. Then say hello.
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 I am.
Will that do?
Yes, it. No, it won't.
Oh, so you do have more to
yes,
say.
yes. Actually,
all right.
I have something for now as well.
Oh, all right.
I'm a first contact specialist, as
All
you.
right, if you say so.
Yeah, I do. And since I am a first contact specialist, and that's my excitement.
Yes.
You like excitement?
One expression of your excitement.
Yes.
Not necessarily the only one.
No. In a way, I do the same things when I do the other expressions, so it's no difference in that sense.
And so?
Yes. It would be very excited for someone like me to know which species is gonna face us here on Earth first.
I am not allowed to tell you that. But obviously, the Aiel hybrids will be among the first. But it has not been fully decided who will be actually the first to make open contact in the way that we mean open contact. Obviously, you all have been contacted in one way, shape, or form. Obviously, there have been other extraterrestrial beings that have landed now and then and made contact with many people on your Earth. But that's not what we're referring to in terms of open contact. But the Yael will be among the first.
Yes, and the others depends on the split-offs, so to speak.
It depends on the shifts
Changing,
that happens from there.
Different timeline.
Yes.
It's a lot of changing.
But they won't necessarily be the first. They may be, they may not be. That hasn't been decided yet.
So we'll see.
We will see.
Nice.
Does that help?
Yes, very much. Thank you, Bashar.
You are welcome.
Shivai.
Shivai.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'm super nervous. But what brought me here today is, I guess, what's the most interesting thing. So, through a lucid dreaming experience, I asked about, I suppose, what people would think of like as an abduction experience if I'd experienced it. And so I asked.
Yes.
And I was presented with the experience. And in that experience, I believe that I was there in that experience and I met you. And in that experience, what was awesome about it was that the beauty of it was that you were present with me. It wasn't what, like, and in that moment, because I connected back with it.
Yes.
You were able to speak to me very clearly, and that's actually what brought me here today. I actually am here in LA this week for a training. I had this lucid dreaming experience on Monday.
Yes.
And in that experience, you told me about, you know, just this tapestry that we're all a part of. But you said, I'm having an event soon. And so after this lucid dream, I go online and I'm like, oh, wait, it's happening on Friday. And I will be leaving LA on Friday. So here I am today.
Thank you for your synchronicity and for your engagement.
Thank you. So if I had a question to ask you, it would be just about something personally that's happening with me. And it would be that I am pursuing in my life a grand goal, a grand dream, a grand thing it speaks to me. It's a part of my heart. It's a part of like my mind.
And what is that?
To help those that think or maybe believe they can't be helped, and also to help the people that I care about the most.
And when you say you are pursuing it, does that mean you're not already doing it?
I am, in a small way.
What difference does that make? And how do you know how big it might be to someone else?
I don't know that it's any smaller or bigger.
Exactly. So why put that condition on it? Why not just simply know you are doing it and allow whatever effect it needs to have on someone to have that effect in the way that they need it? Why limit it with certain kinds of definitional parameters when it doesn't need to be limited that way?
Because I want something different.
Well, if you understand that wanting is its own state, then when you want, all you get is more wanting. But if you are being, then you will experience the being of it, the experience of it. The idea is to have what you need, because you know on some level what you need, and therefore if you're going to quote unquote want anything, I would suggest that you want what you need, because that will get you anywhere you need to go. You don't have to really want. You just have to be, because everything you need in life is built into just being who you are. All the arrangements, all the agreements, all the appointments, everything that's relevant in your life to help you express more fully who you are, which automatically will help others just by being yourself, is built into the flow of your life. It's built into the current. Wanting slows everything down because it doesn't need to be there. Wanting is not a need. You don't need to want. So why want when you can just have what you need? Make sense?
It makes total sense.
I
And
know.
honestly, that's what
That's why I said it. That's how reality works. That's how nature and existence are structured. You don't need these superfluous things. It's already automatically functioning. Go with the flow. Everything you need is in your unique flow. You don't need to want more than you need.
But what if I want to design it in a certain way?
Design it however you wish, but only use the design as a symbol to get you excited and in the proper state to receive what you actually need. That's why we urge and encourage all of you to use visualization as strongly as you can. Have the greatest, most delineated, most detailed, most colorful, most powerful image of what you believe represents an idealized outcome. But understand that the key word is represents. Not necessarily will be exactly what you see. But if you understand that you're designing that just to get you into the proper state to receive whatever your higher mind will actually bring you that will be what you truly need, you would understand that your picture, your visualization, is actually a limitation on receiving something that could be many magnitudes better than you were capable of imagining. So why limit it to your physical mind's capability of visualization when the higher mind can see so much farther, so much grander, and bring you something so much greater than what the physical mind is actually even capable of imagining?
There you go.
There you go.
Thank you, Bashar.
Does that help?
It does a lot.
You see, this is what it's all about in terms of turning your definitions around. Many of the things you have been taught to believe are the things that get you to the places you need to be, are in many ways actually what limits you from getting there. That's why you need to open up into your flexibility of definition. And anytime you make a plan, that's fine. But always include in the plan a portion of the plan that gets rid of the plan, so that you can be flexible enough to allow the plan to evolve. Plans are not rigid things. Plans are just the ideas, the seeds that get you motivated, get you moving. They form a kind of framework for your physical mind to sort of hang on to. But please don't rigidize them, because then you're just trapping yourself behind bars. All right.
Hello, Bashar.
Hey to you, good day.
My
Just
question,
making sure you're all awake.
my question is about, you might say, the universal architecture and the light.
Universal architecture.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
kind of a lot of syllables for something that I'm trying to limit. And so, and the light beings that we refer to as archangels.
Yes, yes, yes.
The teaching that has been brought to me is that they would be sort of like one of the first creations of Source.
They're the first reflection of Source.
Right. Okay, super. And do these beings also work in other universes?
Well, yes, because by their very nature,
Of course.
they're not limited to a particular universe.
Right.
If they are the first reflection of all that is, then they are involved and engaged with a multitude of multiverses.
Great. And then the extrapolation from that would be that our oversouls are somewhat along a certain lineage as archangels, as a particular archangel.
When you say lineage, what do you mean?
As in the archangels cooperated with source energy in creation, and then oversouls came out of, say, maybe Michael or,
Well, there are levels of oversoul. Mm-hmm. You could say the archangels are one level of oversoul.
Right.
But then there are many different levels of oversoul based on the vibrational resonances that represent what those different oversoul levels have deemed that they will be experiential reflections of. So you have oversouls going all the way down until it breaks into the idea of individuated souls that then break down into the idea of higher mind and physical mind that give you your opportunity to experience the idea of physical reality illusion.
Right. Okay, great.
So there are oversouls and oversouls of oversouls and oversouls of oversouls of oversouls and all the way up to the all that is, which you could say, I suppose, is the ultimate oversoul. If you want to use those terminologies, you can.
Right. Okay, great. Yeah, thank you.
Yes?
All right. So I practice telepathy, and
You practice telepathy.
I do. Yes.
And what does that mean, practically speaking?
I speak telepathily. I
understand
communicate.
what you say the definition
Okay.
is. I am asking you what you mean by you practice. How do you practice?
With my mind.
Really? That's not what telepathy is about.
Okay. Well, I mean,
You remember our definition of it?
No.
Our reframing of the word?
no, I don't know it.
Telepathy.
Telepathy, yes, but telepathy, it sort of comes from a different place when I'm shaping thoughts to make them a little more oriented to my physical reality. Does that make sense?
All right, if you say so.
Okay.
Kind of a little bit cart before the horse, but whatever works for you.
Well, I in particular, I utilize it in the third dimensional reality with animals and elements of nature and Gaia.
I understand, but what's the first element that allows telepathy to actually function?
Being.
A little bit more of how it's expressed. Of course it's being, everything is being.
Okay, I didn't understand the question.
The idea is that the first fundamental element of telepathy is unconditional love.
Yes, right, okay.
Because it is activated by love. That's why we call it telepathy. Mm-hmm. It's not a mind thing. It's being on the same wavelength as something else. You're not reading anyone's mind, ever.
No. It's
You
not
are
mind
simply
reading.
having the same thoughts at the same time because you're on the same wavelength, because you are in love with them.
Right. That's what I think synchronicities are. It's hard to tell who had the experience first or whether there was a
Exactly.
first or not. Yeah.
That's telepathy.
Right. Well, sorry, I'm in the same subject. I'm sorry it's long, but thank you very much for that. My experience is by interacting with animals in nature on that profound telepathy.
Yes.
Is that they are better at unconditional love, obviously, sort of, I guess we would say, more ascended than humans are in a general
Well, only
sense.
because they haven't been taught out of it.
Right. And what I just wonder, is it because we're so foreign here, seemingly? Is that because we are seeded here by...
It's not
we are
because of
foreign?
that
Okay.
so much as it is simply the ideas and definitions that you've bought into by forgetting who you are. It just goes with the territory.
Right.
That when you forget who you are, when you choose to forget, so that you can go through a transformative experience of remembering who you are and discovering who you are from a new point of view, what sometimes comes with the territory is the idea of buying into belief systems that are not necessarily in alignment with your true frequency. But that's just part of the game you're playing, and that's part of what it is you're transforming.
And so it's just a role that we decided to play.
Yes.
And this particular role is just so different, it seems, than
Yes.
others. Okay.
Yes. Well, it had to be very, very, very different in order for it to be a very powerful transformation. Remember, the darker the dark, the brighter the bright.
Right.
Yes?
Yes.
By contrast. Same thing as the rubber band analogy that we've used from time to time. The farther back into the darkness you pull the rubber band, when you finally let go, it'll fly that much farther and faster into the light. So you have created a reality of extremes, so that when you do finally let go of the negative extreme, you will experience such an ecstatic positive extreme, there will be no question and no doubt that you've transformed.
Right.
Yes?
Yes.
It is the beauty of how to use contrast in a very powerful way.
Yes.
So, congratulations.
Okay, thank you. This one's probably really short, if you don't mind. So love governs this universe.
Governs is not a word I would use, but we understand what you mean.
Love is right. Are other universes composed of, or is there a higher vibration?
Everything is made of love, but obviously there are different degrees of beings that do and don't know that. Yes?
Okay.
So the extremes that you're experiencing is simply the product of not remembering that you're made of love. And yes, are there universes darker than yours? Absolutely.
And lighter?
And of course lighter.
Something greater and higher than love?
Absolutely. And lower.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you.
Just as you have found in exploring your physical universe that you are actually sort of in between the largest things and the smallest things, you will always find, no matter how far you look, forward, backward, up, down, side to side, you will always be in the middle, and every single being will always have the same perspective. You will always be in the center.
Yes.
Because everything is infinite in all directions.
Right.
So everywhere you are, and everyone you are, is the center.
Yes.
That's how it works. Does that help?
Very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. A circle is a finite boundary. We said it's infinite, so no circle is implied.
Hello, Bashar.
And a you good day.
I didn't expect to be here, but...
Well, congratulations and Shivai on your unexpected experience.
Thank you very much. I had a strong urge to write my name, and I was kind of scared to do it because I didn't have any question. I just came...
You don't need a question to speak with us. In fact, many times you'll get more information from us when you make a statement that is true for you.
Oh, thank you. I've been going through a lot of transformation.
Oh,
and-
congratulations. How exciting.
Yes, it is. Indeed.
She said, not sounding very excited about it.
Well, some of them were quite painful.
It's a challenge, we understand, but remember it's only painful because of your definitions of it. And that's what you need to look at. Anytime you experience pain, it's resistance to the natural self. The resistance can only come from definitions you've bought into that are out of alignment with your true self, which is why they feel like resistance. So pain is an opportunity to ask the question, what would I have to believe is true in order to have resistance that is creating the sensation of pain? Therefore, use the challenge in a positive way, and you'll go through it more smoothly.
I feel as I was suppressing my emotions since my early childhood, and I had an experience of ayahuasca, and I've noticed that that portal was open, and I started experiencing all kinds of emotions going through.
Yes.
So I think the emotions that I'm experiencing, basically those that I didn't go through, and once I really release all of them, it's going to be easier.
Yes, it's not so much about releasing emotions as it is releasing the definitions that don't work for you that create the emotions. Emotions don't exist in a vacuum. You can't have an emotion or a feeling about anything if you don't have a definition first. So the idea is that your emotions can put you in touch with the definitions. It's the definitions you need to release, and that will make all the difference in what you feel. Yes?
Yes.
The emotions have to be owned, not released. The emotions have to be delved deeper into to find the definitions that are generating them. Then when you release the definitions, the emotions that go with them, in a sense, will simply evaporate.
I've noticed that once I feel the emotion through, the answer comes in at the end.
Yes.
And it presents itself.
Yes.
How I should have been acting.
Well, not should, but can choose to.
Yes, yes. So I wouldn't create this.
Yes, well, that's your technique then of how you use your emotions to discover the definitions and then let go of them. And decide to choose what you prefer. Simple as that.
Sure.
Yes?
Yes.
All right, well, congratulations on finding and creating a permission slip that works well for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I had nothing to do with it. Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
One of my themes when I came to Earth was transformation.
That's common for most of you.
I experienced that being born in another country, El Salvador,
Yes?
and being really conscious since I was like probably 4 years old.
Yes?
Still having memories of how I've evolved as a child
Yes?
into the person I am right now.
Yes.
There is a lot of painful memories that I have.
The person you are now has the painful memories?
Yes,
Why are you that person then, if you don't prefer to have those painful memories?
because a lot of my life struggles reoccur with that painful. For example,
Yes?
I'm not allowed to vote.
You're
But
not
I'm-
allowed to what?
I'm not allowed to vote.
You're not allowed to vote anywhere on the planet?
Not here in the United States where I live right
Is
now.
that important?
To me, it's not important because I understand I'm part of the whole.
So if it's
But-
not important, then why is that an issue?
Because it feels like I'm limited.
Well, if you feel limited by that, then why do you not become a citizen of that country so you can vote?
Well, because I went through illegal channels.
All right, well, then why not change your reality so that you experience something different? Why not redefine yourself in a different way?
You mean just leave?
I
Go
didn't
back
say
to where I
that.
came
No, I
from,
didn't
or-
say that. I said, why don't you redefine yourself where you are as a different person than you have been thinking yourself to be?
I do understand that, and I do
Yet.
continue my life living in the highest joys
And
and passion,
yet.
and following my passion.
And yet,
But yet it keeps reoccurring. It keeps coming back.
so the fear is what? What's the fear?
I fear losing everything when
Define losing everything.
losing my, not being able to see my family, starting over again.
All right, and why are you buying into that as being more real than what you prefer? Why are you buying into that scenario as being more real than what you prefer? Don't have an answer for that yet?
I live in fear. I don't
The
understand.
fear does not justify it. The fear is the result of what you're buying into as true. You can't justify it by saying, I'm afraid. That's the result. The cause is that you're choosing to buy into a definitional belief system that isn't what you prefer. The question is, why?
Well, because I have family here and I care about them. So
No.
losing them.
No, you're missing the point entirely. What do you get out of buying into the fear scenario?
Nothing.
Yes, you do, or you wouldn't do it. None of you do anything and buy into anything that you haven't been taught to believe serves you. Even if it doesn't serve you, you wouldn't buy into it if you weren't taught to believe that it does. So how is it that you believe that something you don't prefer serves you? Because if you didn't believe it served you, you wouldn't hold on to it. It would be gone. So let's dig down and find out what beliefs you've attached to your motivational mechanism that makes you continue to choose to buy into a reality you say you don't prefer, yet you keep buying into because you're still afraid of it, which is the evidence that you keep buying into it as being more real than the reality you prefer. So let's look at your definitions that are saying that you believe that that reality is more probable, that you're going to lose everyone, lose everything. You believe, you've been taught to believe that that's more likely than the alternative that you would prefer.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yes.
So why do you have a definition that says that the scenario you don't prefer is actually more believable, more real, more likely, more probable than the reality that you do prefer? Why do you have that definition?
That's a tough one. It's
good. It's supposed to be challenging for you to go through this. But that's the real crux. You have a belief that the reality you prefer is not as valid, not as real, not as probable as the negative one you don't prefer. You have been trained to believe that it can't be as real. You need to really dissect that belief and understand why you are motivated to believe that way.
Okay.
So, I will ask you another question. Is there any scenario in your imagination by which you could at least believe in the probability that your preferred scenario is actually one that can continue instead of the negative one? Is there anything within your imagination that says, well, maybe the positive scenario I would prefer could happen instead of the one I am afraid might happen? Is there anything within your consciousness that says that it could be maybe that way? Maybe?
Yes, I do try to imagine myself living normally, like just any other person.
All right. So when you do that, and when you allow yourself to begin to realize that that is just as valid, just as real a reality as anything else you don't prefer that might pop into your imagination, understand that that's your opportunity. When those things pop into your imagination that you don't prefer, that's your opportunity to do that comparison and say, what is it about that idea that I don't prefer that I am making appear to be more real than the idea that I do? And stay with that, work with that. This is your process. This is specifically your process to freedom. Is weighing and evaluating every time one of those little negative ideas pops up and you look at the scenario you would prefer. It's your opportunity to see where your definitions are, where you're putting the weight of reality, which one you believe is really more probable, and why. That's your process. So stay with it, and you'll be using the scenario in the way that you need to. And no matter what actually ultimately results, you have to know that if you stay in the positive state and use it this way as a positive tool, whatever happens will be exactly what needs to happen, and it's going to benefit you and everyone that is connected to you in your life in the way that works best for all concerned. You have to stay in the state where you know that. Otherwise, yes, of course, the alternative is despair. But that's not what you prefer, is it?
No.
All right.
I have another question.
Yes.
How is destiny is the choice that I made when I came to Earth the same as the destiny I was supposed to carry on?
In a sense, you could say that the choices you've made and the themes you chose to explore are your destiny. But while you are a physical being, you can then experience your so-called destiny or your theme in any number of ways that work best for you. The destiny or theme that you chose to explore, you will explore. But there are a number of ways to explore it. And you can explore it happy and sad and fast and slow and up and down, back and forth and side to side, and whatever way you want to, that's your personal free will. You will explore the theme. But so what? That's what you chose to explore. It doesn't mean that it has to be in any way, shape, or form experienced negatively or painfully or as a struggle. A challenge? Yes. but challenges you want, because challenges are what reveal more of yourself to yourself when you go through them. That's the process.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to life on planet Earth.
It's a tough one.
But you agreed to play this game.
Yes, I did.
But the game is changing. And you're changing it along with everyone else that also desires to change the rules of the game. That's what the transformational age is actually about. You're changing the rules of the game so you can play a different one. So you're a part of that. You're one of the pieces on the board. And you're deciding that there are other rules you would like to play by. So while playing by the rules you agreed to play by, now at this point in your evolution, one of the rules is that you can change the rules to a certain degree. Enough for you to experience a very different kind of reality. That's why we have recently told you that the splitting prism is now truly splitting physically. You are actually truly now beginning to experience the splitting of actual physical parallel realities. Some of the different sort of odd and paradoxical and mysterious things that you may begin to experience in life are actually reflective of experiencing more than one parallel reality. Now they're actually physically splitting apart. So,
Yeah,
does this help you?
it helps a lot.
How do you feel?
I feel lifted.
All
I
right.
feel like what I've gone through in my life has a meaning,
Yes.
has a more important meaning to find who I am as a
All right.
person.
Yes, and please remember, it doesn't really matter where you are, it matters who you are in that place.
Right.
Yes? Because it's not what happens, it's what you do with what happens. That's the measure of change. That's the measure of empowerment. Not what happens. Don't make your happiness and your balance conditional on the reflections. You decide what your state of being is. The reflections will eventually follow. But you don't have to need them to, because you're not basing your state on them. Otherwise, your state is being made conditional.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
I understand.
All right.
Thank you.
Does this help you?
A lot.
All right.
Thank you.
Good day. Nania,
Hello.
do you have other questions from other sources?
Millions.
All right, number one.
My hot flashes coincide with.
Are you speaking personally?
No,
Or are you addressing a question from some other person?
this is from our Ustream listener.
All right, just checking. Make sure you're not going to go up in flames in front of everyone.
Spontaneous combustion.
Yes.
All right, so her hot flashes coincide with meaningful dreams.
Yes.
Are they energy downloads?
Yes. Now, remember that everything starts as energy, and it doesn't mean that just because there might also be a physiological component that has been created within you to represent or go along with these things that might be connected to other hormonal or chemical imbalances doesn't mean it doesn't start with energy. So for each person, you have to take it on a case-by-case basis, and in this case, yes, there are energy downloads that are being translated through the body and spurring on the creation of chemical and hormonal combinations that are creating the hot flashes. So therefore, the hot flashes are an interpretation of the energy downloads.
Could that also be like if a person gets stressed or overly excited about receiving information in that way, it could also trigger that kind of response?
To be excited? No. To be stressed? Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Because the definition of excitement would not necessarily contain that kind of an experience, with the exception that there might be a very positive reason why the person might choose to express it that way, but that might be relatively rare.
Okay. Can you speak about the evolution of mind?
The evolution of mind?
Yeah, I guess you have
It's
to
not that the mind has evolved, it's that the apparatus for expressing the mind has evolved. The mind is the mind.
So I guess we like to think we're evolving as a
You
species.
You are, but you are the expression of the mind. You're not the mind. You understand?
Right. So where is the evolution actually taking place then if it's...
Within the changes going on in the physical reality experience that allows for greater expression of the mind. So it may appear as if, oh, our minds are evolving. The ability to express your mind is what's evolving.
So that had to do with the idea of the strands of DNA that were not activated?
That's the way you kind of interpret it.
Or suppression of certain genetic markers?
But again, that's kind of the way you have interpreted it. Those are the symbols that have been used to represent the idea of an inability to express more of the mind. There is a saying on your planet, a saying from a particular person who said, in answering the question, how many minds are there in existence? And his answer, in a sense, is correct. The exact number of minds throughout all of creation is exactly one.
That's what I figured. Because it's all that is.
Yes, it is.
Having a multitude of thoughts
in a sense,
simultaneously.
Yes. And you are its thoughts. Therefore, the idea is that since you are a reflective thought, capable of even reflecting upon yourself, how you think of yourself, how you see yourself, what you believe to be true about yourself is what determines your ability to evolve to a point where you are capable of expressing more of the mind.
So you're saying self-examination or self-reflection is, and even on our level, the more self-reflective you are, the deeper your understanding of existence.
And the more you evolve, because that's also how all that is evolves, through reflection of itself.
And that's why it's a hall of mirrors, because it's reflection after reflection after
reflection to infinity.
Oh, it's so bright.
Yes, and so dark. And so neutral.
Very good. What's the difference between instinct and intuition?
Instinct is that capacity which is, in a sense, built into your biological form. Intuition comes from the higher mind.
So you know how they're always saying, oh, animals operate on instinct.
It's sort of an automatic, built-in biological version, if you wish, of intuition, but it's not exactly the same thing. It's a biological expression built into the biology that might be somewhat representative of intuition, but it's a different quality because of the built-in biology that goes with it.
So how are we as humans different, whereas an animal will have very strong instincts? A bear that you force to live on concrete will try to dig into the concrete so it can hibernate.
Yes.
That's instinctual.
Yes.
How are we different in terms of intuition versus instinct as humans?
Intuition, in a sense, the way you experience it as a human, gives you the ability to override your instincts. Instinct, in a sense, is a built-in directive to be yourself.
So part of
You have the ability to ignore the directive to be yourself.
So actually, as we've been going through this process, I've noticed that part of the process itself is learning how to override instinct and instead make intuitive choices. Is that correct?
Well, in a sense, but what we're also saying is that because you have overridden your natural instinct, you have to rely on intuition.
Well, that kind of instinct you're talking about is like when you walk into a forest and you can smell danger.
Yes.
That's instinct.
Yes.
But most humans may not have that so strong anymore.
But it's a balancing act. And that's part of the idea, is that you're a balancing act. So you might have an initial instinct, What you do with that and how you react or respond to it can sometimes be based on your intuition about the instinct experience that you're having.
But that is a component of this process, right? Your ability to override instinct.
It is a component, yes. Not meaning that you necessarily should, it's just a component in the experience and in the process.
Well, I'm trying to think of an instinct that would be, cause issues to be expressing it.
An instinct that
Yes.
would cause issues?
Yeah, if you express it. Like,
Well, you've used the example in some sense already. The bear finds itself in concrete, and yet its instinct says it should still dig.
but I'm saying with us as humans, what kind of instincts do we need to override in order to get along and evolve to the point where we can interact with you on a face-to-face basis?
The idea of having forgotten who you are allows you to experience an instinct that says that every stranger is dangerous. That's a false instinct, but you experience it as an instinct. Be wary.
Or fear of the dark?
Or fear the dark.
What about fear of falling?
That can be a survival instinct, but it doesn't have to be a fear. It can come as an awareness. Again, this is not black and white. There are variations and degrees of mixture in this between instinct, positive, negative instinct, intuition coming into the mix, positive, negative reactions to things, so on and so forth. It's a mix. It's not a black and white recipe.
So really it's a balancing act between
That's what I
instinct
said.
and intuition is basically what
And
this comes down to.
definitions, yes. Belief systems, instinct, and intuition play a dance. That is a balancing act for humans on your planet.
It's pretty heady stuff.
We will go into this more at another time.
Okay. So, do you want me to ask any more questions, or you?
That was a question.
So, lastly, since this was on the topic you were talking about earlier, can you talk more about the paths that electrons take? Does this
They take
Path.
paths of probability.
actually correlate with your beliefs?
Yes. The probability of the beliefs.
Would you like to reiterate that just to make it a little more clear?
The probability of an electron being in any particular position is correlated to the probability of what you believe about where you will find it. You get the reality you program yourself to experience, in other words.
Oh, is this kind of like where you tell yourself you have to wake up at 7 in the morning and then you wake up at 7?
The probability of finding yourself awake at 7 in the morning after having instructed yourself to do that experiment makes being awake at 7 in the morning the highest probability. Yes.
Interesting.
Nothing mysterious about that.
No. Okay.
Yes.
So lastly, are we able to physically see spirits in fourth density reality?
Yes. It's one of the symptoms and one of the natural experiences of higher fourth density reality is that your senses start registering things that were heretofore invisible to you because they're just on a different frequency. That's all. So you're expanding your senses to be able to pick up like an antenna on higher frequencies that you couldn't see before. Therefore, some of those frequencies will allow you to see spirits. Yes, of course.
So, but it doesn't necessarily mean you will be able to. It just means you can if you're in fourth density. Like if you're more orally focused, or is this a blanket thing that if you
No, not
once you-
necessarily. Not necessarily. We have the ability to do that, but not everyone necessarily has a need to do so.
So all it means is you get to vibration to the level where you're functioning on a fourth density level pretty much
And
most
what
of the time.
needs to happen will happen. It's just that in higher fourth density, there are more things that can fulfill what needs to happen. You're, shall we say, working from a larger palette of things. So whereas in your density, you might only be working with the primary colors, In the higher density, you are working with the secondary colors, and maybe colors even beyond what you're capable of perceiving in the third density. So it's not that everyone necessarily has to use all those colors, but they are accessible if need be. You have a larger palette, a larger paint box. That's all.
Nice, very colorful.
Yes, it is. It is absolutely gorgeous. Is it time for your holotope?
It sure is.
Then please take a short break. We will resume this transmission briefly and with your holotope meditation. All right, say, let us continue the transmission with the holotope meditation. Everyone, please become very relaxed. Let go of the concerns of the day. Breathe deeply, gently, easily, and focus your attention on the center of the holotope before you. As your lights begin to play and your music rises gently, allow yourselves to fall into the dream that we share. Allow yourselves to absorb the information through your eyes, through all of the neural network that is represented by the holotope, through the reflection that it represents of your higher mind as it connects through all of those threads of energy, those lines of light, to your physical mind and allows you to experience the idea of physical reality. Allow yourself to continue to breathe. And as you allow your eyes to gently take in the center of the holotope as a reflection of your total being, you can also begin to see into the depths the different expressions of the neutrality at the center as it gives rise to the positive and negative experiences and energies that naturally issue from it based on your definitions, your beliefs, your perspective, your understanding, what you believe to be true about yourself, what you believe to be true about reality in general. Allow all of that to be found in the holotope design, in the lines of light, in the images that swirl around the center, in the fractal patterns as they play out before you, in the ever-shifting and ever-changing spectrum of colors, frequencies, and energies that you absorb through your eyes into the neurological pathways of your brain and your body, to allow for the rewiring, the reconfiguring of those neural pathways to whatever degree and whatever way gives you the best advantage to know yourself as deeply as possible, to gain transparency and clarity of yourself, so that you may see through all of the illusions you have placed upon yourself that are out of alignment with who you truly prefer to be, leaving only those parameters and limitations that serve you to your best ability, that guide you down a path, that escort you through the hallway, through the corridor that represents the theme you chose to explore, the theme you chose this life to be. Allow all the information that is now embedded within this holotope that will reveal to you all of the relevant knowledge, all of the wisdom, all of the insight, all of the inspiration and intuition that you require in life that is relevant for the being you have created yourself to be, for the mind you have extended into this physical reality dream to be given to you through synchronicity, very easily, very effortlessly, along the path of least resistance. Breathe deeply and gently as you allow the music in, as you allow the lights in, as you allow all the different patterns to begin to express themselves and expand within you. As you allow the unconditional love to grow from the center of your being and radiate outward, outward with every beat of your heart. At the speed of light, bubbles and bubbles and bubbles of electromagnetic light speeding outward, the neutron of existence itself, growing larger and larger, speeding away from you, and yet you are contained at the center of it, and interacting and intersecting and merging with all of the other neutral bubbles that radiate from the unconditional love of every beat of your heart. And allowing yourselves then to see that within that neutral bubble that is your reality, for you are contained within it, see that it is completely up to you to determine what your reflections will mean to you, positive or negative, how you will choose to experience the life that unfolds not around you, but from within you. For as we have said, reality does not happen to you, it happens through you. You are the prism, the glass prism, the multifaceted, gorgeous prism that takes the white, unbroken light of your higher mind, your greater consciousness, and breaks it down into the beautiful spectrum, the jewel-like spectrum of colors that represent the reflections of your physical reality, of all of your beliefs, all of your definitions, all of your emotions, thoughts, and behaviors, and plays them out before you. The reflections of the game that you have chosen to play, the reflections of the peace you have chosen to be, and all of the understandings of yourself that come with this, that render down to the most simple but profound recognition that has always been the truth. Know yourself, be yourself. Examine, fear not, examine yourselves. Be transparent to yourselves. Open up to yourselves, for the truth lies within you, and the truth will always be beautiful. There is nothing to fear. All of the negative beliefs that you may generate from the neutral circumstance that you may have about yourself, that you've been taught to buy into about yourself, they will never be ultimately true. They are only true insofar as you make them true, as you believe they are true. They are only true for that moment for you. They are not eternally true. Remember, the fifth law is that all things change except the laws themselves. So anything else besides the laws is not a fact, is not an ultimate truth. It is just a perspective, it is an opinion, it is a belief. And those can be changed. And the changes that you may decide to make when you move from that neutral space and prefer the idea of the positive, reflective reality, using everything within it, even the negative things, in a positive way, the changes that you make change you utterly, totally, completely, and absolutely. You are never the same person from moment to moment, literally. This is not a metaphor. You are never the same person, moment to moment, literally. And therefore, as a new person every moment, you have a new future, you have a new past, you have a new now. However it is you choose to define yourself in this moment, in the trinity of existence, of all the possible positive, negative, and neutral circumstances that may rise to meet you in your life. Choose to respond in the way that is true for who you prefer to be. For you are children of the cosmos, children of creation, children of existence, children of infinity, children of eternity. You are indestructible. You exist and therefore always have and always shall. Yet time is also your illusion. For it isn't really about always having existed. It isn't really about always existing from this point forward. It is only in the now that you exist. For the now is all there is. And everything that you experience happens in that now, but from a different point of view that creates your illusion of time and space and change. Take a deep breath in and make this reality your own, and breathe it out as your new truth. Take a deep breath in and crystallize these vibrational frequencies, and breathe them out and make it your new truth. And take a deep breath in and hold it, and hold it, and hold it as the promise, and blow it out. And fill the environment and atmosphere with that radiant energy of your true being, your true essence. For you are made of light. You are made of the vibration of love. It is your nature. It is your essence. It is your truth. Continue to breathe this truth easily and deeply, like waves upon the shore, in and out, in and out, in and out. And as you breathe this energy in and remind yourself of all that we have discussed this day and time in this transmission, you will allow all that comes from the neutral center that may to some be experienced and expressed as negative, and all that comes from the neutral center that may be experienced and expressed as positive, to serve you in the ways that you prefer. For all things, positive and negative, are a part of creation and are all equally valid. Balance. Balance. The balance exists within you. It is not outside of you. It will never be found there. Seek within, and you shall find, for it always has been there. Just pay attention, and you will see. Continue to breathe gently, easily, deeply, wrapped in the unconditional arms of creation, nurtured, supported, loved, deserving, beautiful, brilliant, creative, expressive, joyful. These are your birthrights. This is your nature. Be natural. Be you. Be you. That's all you need to do. Just be you. Continue to breathe as your lights soften, your music softens. Allow the lights to go down and allow yourself to begin to float in velvety darkness, floating in a dream in an endless sea, supported by the waves that undulate through you, around you, under you, over you, floating along the current that is you, the current that will carry you exactly where you need to be, when you need to be there, for the current is you. Surrender is not the giving up of control. Surrender is allowing yourself to experience the control you already have. Go with the flow. Breathe. Float in the dream together with us. Stay at ease and be at peace. And welcome home. Our unconditional love to you all. Sweet dreams. darkest, most fearsome abyss. You will discover nothing but